Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builders Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the transatlantic number Dl Db251 Us32D single cylinder deadbolt, grade 3. I'd be shocked if this was grade 3, meaning it seems a higher caliber lock than a grade 3 lock. I'd bet it's grade 2, be my guess. Grade 1 would be heavy duty, like 1,000,000 cycles. Grade 2 would be standard duty or heavy duty commercial, 500,000 cycles. Grade 3 would be below that. I don't recall the cycle count for grade 3, but it's just common residential. It feels heavier, which means there's going to be some metal around underneath this collar. But what I'm really referring to is the latch bolt. The latch bolt seems like it's certainly a better quality lock than a grade 3 latch bolt that I'm accustomed to seeing from other manufacturers. Anyway, I do like to test the lock out for proper operation. It's universal. Well, it's adjustable. 2 3/8, 2 3/4. Okay. Very common question is, what's the projection of the bolt? Typically 1 inch is what you'll find on locks, and that's what the case is here. Being a deadbolt, this is going to be 2 1/4 tall. The faceplate itself is going to be 1 inch wide, but is coming with this adapter. I forget the proper name for this. That if you had 1 1/8 wide preparation, like if you were putting it into a commercial steel door, is what you would use. There are no installation instructions with this at all, and that means that you're on your own. Not really. There's not a lot to a lock set. If you're a locksmith or someone who is a landlord, or you're just replacing a lock, you won't have any trouble not having a lot of special knowledge. If you're replacing a lock, you're going to want to make sure that, well, I really don't think this won't fit into any standard preparation. What I'm driving at is, if you have a standard preparation and there's nothing unusual about it, meaning you've got a hole that's 2 1/8 inch in diameter, or even 1 1/2 inches. This ought to work without a problem on 1 1/2 inches. Because there's nothing published saying that it will or will not, we're just going to physically inspect the hardware, and it really looks like it will work on 1 1/2 inches. You might have to ream that hole out a little bit, because this is probably intended for 2 1/8, absolutely. The inside thumb turn, that'll certainly work on 1 1/2 diameter holes. If you have a back set of 2 3/8 or 2 3/4, you're in good shape. I wouldn't worry about any of that. You're going to get a typical 2 3/4 tall strike plate with this. That dimension is 2 3/4 by 1 1/8. And in the 1 1/8 wide strike plate's another tip-off that it's not a grade 3 lock. The overall diameter of the exterior of the bolt, or the cylinder housing, 2 1/2 inch, with a projection about 1 inch, 1 1/16 maybe. The tailpiece length on this lock is certainly going to be something proper for 1 3/4 or 1 3/8 thick doors. That wouldn't be a problem. But you're not going to really get anything much thicker out of this than maybe, depending on the screw length, trying to put it together on my desk here so I can give you an idea of what kind of maximum thickness you might bump into as compatible with. You might be able to make that work on a 2 inch thick door. The length of the screws, you could probably squeeze it to 2 inch thick. I wouldn't guarantee anything beyond 1 3/4, 1 7/8, but I bet you can get to 2 3/4, 2 inch thick. Okay. I am impressed with this. The confluence of cost and impression is very high. Diameter of the thumb turn is about 2 5/8. That's going to have a projection, total projection, about 7/8. Stainless steel is the finish. That's the US32D. You'll have a stainless base material and stainless and a brushed finish on that. Okay. Then after that, we've discovered all the pieces. You'll get all the parts and bolts. 2 bolts through the lock, 2 for the latch bolt, 2 for the strike plate. If you're installing this, the latch bolt goes in first, and then the lock body. And as an aside, deadbolts are installed correctly or incorrectly. And what I mean by that is the tail piece on the back side of this, I can rotate that 180 plus degrees. That is called a lazy tailpiece. It's literally termed lazy. That allows you to perform the function of being able to throw and project the bolt, but then turning the key back to pull it out of the lock. The lazy action, because of the pie cut preparation on the back of the tailpiece, permits that function. If you find that you install the lock and you can throw it, but then every time you turn the key to pull it out, it retracts it, you simply have it timed incorrectly. And what you need to do is to remove this lock and either change the orientation of the bolt or take that tailpiece and flip it over. And that will time it correctly. And it's a very common question that I get. Hey, my lock doesn't work. So you're just going to want to, in your mind's eye, envision how that tailpiece has to move to bring the key back so that you can extract it. And if you have any trouble, you just retime that, and then you'll be right as rain, so to speak. The balance of the profile of this item in our site, I want to go over all of the details of it before signing off. And while I'm waiting for the order to load, Transatlantic, Transatlantic is was an importer of very good quality builders products that me and my family have bought from literally for decades. And while they're not Transatlantic directly anymore, or that their ownership has changed and changed again, I'm relieved to see that while the customer service isn't what it used to be, many of the products are utterly unchanged. And I think they were wise enough to realize this material is perfect, don't change it. Specifically, their exit devices. Their ED-501 series exit devices are the best value in the entire industry when it comes to an exit device. Their hinges, their door, especially their door closers too, all of that applies to their door closers. We have sold more TACO, Transatlantic Company closers than can be counted, and great value. Exits, door closers, lock sets, and hinges. If you're a contractor that installs doors, you're going to want to look at those items because tremendous quality and value, a price point that you'll be able to be profitable on, and your customer will say, that's good stuff. And if you need something domestically manufactured and heavy duty because the application calls for it, well, of course you wouldn't use Transatlantic. But there are applications when it's perfect, like the back exit doors of a strip mall. You've got 8 tenants. You got your favorite coffee place. You've got a mattress store. You've got, the shoe store. You've got the frozen yogurt store. All the back of those doors get these exit devices. That's a perfect scenario for Transatlantic, in my opinion. Now, the rest of the information on this lock, there is a link below this video to the instructions, which are not instructions. It's a cut sheet, actually, and by the time you see this, it will be renamed. It'll be a product catalog. But when you click on it, you'll be able to get to the DB251 area about halfway through, and you'll see that the DB260 is the same unit, just double cylinder. Door thickness, it says there 1 3/4 to 2 inch. Will it work on 1 3/8? It actually may not. If it's grade 3, you would sure expect it to. I'm tempted to say that it will. Adjustable back set, 1 inch throw, 1/4 inch heavy gauge through bolts. It is a Schlage C keyway. It's a 5-pin. It's a 5-pin Schlage C keyway. Is definitely what this is. Very common keyway is the point. So that's handy if you're keying it to other locks that you already own that are Schlage C. They do say that it's 6-pin. The cuts on this key are 5. It's very likely that this cylinder is drilled 6 so that it will take a 6-pin. Their catalog says it is. Non-handed, fully reversible, has a 1-year warranty, and available in polished brass and satin stainless steel. The rest of that product catalog will call attention to the other details of the lock sets from Transatlantic, and as I said earlier, I would not hesitate to consider them a source for those products that I've mentioned. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Transatlantic products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. And then again, I'll say it again, I am very partial to this manufacturer. This importer is what they are. Because a lot of people import material, is for sure, but it's not all the same quality. And the Transatlantic quality is absolutely above average. The only time I had a Transatlantic exit device fail in a quarter century, client called and said the latch bolt is limp, it doesn't work. I had just left the job site, delivering the material. The guy was heated, to say the least. It's an emergency egress. The device has to work. He has inspection. Heated, to say the least. Turned right back around, went to the job site, and looked at the installation. And being someone who is familiar with welding, they welded the exit device to the door. Welded it. 1800 degree Fahrenheit vaporized the spring behind the latch bolt. Told the guy, no reason to get heated, but the reason it failed is because you melted the metal. So we helped him come to the conclusion where he was going to buy a new exit device, and I think that thing is working 10 years later, as it was the second time that they installed it with screwing it to the door. My name is Rich. If you have any questions on the Transatlantic, this is their part number Dl Db251 in a 32D finish, or any other Transatlantic product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.